Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second edition of Debates Among Friends, live on Mixlr under the name Debates Among Friends, and our Facebook page under the same name. I am known as the Professor, and always ready to drop some knowledge is the Doctor. You ready to be controversial tonight, Doctor?
I'm always willing and ready.
Well, we have ourselves a pretty packed up show tonight, so let's get started. We're here talking about the brand new inducted two-time MVP, Stephen Curry. He is the first in NBA history to be the unanimous MVP. What's your thoughts on that?
As I mentioned the other day, cheat codes. Straight cheat codes. That up, down, left, right, square, X. He's all over it.
I think you mean up, down, left,
man,
right, A, B.
He's using them. He's using them all, man. I'm trying to tell you. He is using them all because, I mean, I'm looking and I'm like Dwight said yesterday on TNT, and we'll get to that later. I mean, it's hard to defend somebody at the three-point alone, let alone play defense on somebody that's shooting from half court. I mean, that's that Jimmer range that we used to talk about.
We did.
Who's Jimmer?
Shout out to Jimmer for that, wherever you are.
Yeah, wherever you are. I don't know what D-League he's on now, but, I mean, Steph Curry he's a monster without question.
And I talked about this earlier today on Facebook, just talking about the evolution of the game where, with us coming up, like the 3-point shot wasn't used as much. Now everyone shoots the 3-point shot. Everyone. From the point guard to the center to the 10th person that's on the bench, like everyone shoots threes now.
I agree. Before it used to be like a one-time, hey, that's our 3-point specialist. You had your Steve Kerrs, you had your somebody like a Kerry Kittles or whatever your 3-point specialist was, your Allen Houstons, your John Starks, there was just that one guy that you can count on to hit a three. You weren't really looking for, at least I don't remember Gary Payton shooting no threes, but they might have had Hershey
Hawk. I was going to say Mighty Mouse, Damon Stoudemire.
Damon Stoudemire, exactly. But they also had Steve Smith.
They did.
So, I mean, back then it was like one or two people shoot threes. And then as we got older, you saw the Rasheed Wallaces, the Peja Stojakovic's. Peja, you remember, we used to always talk about Peja.
Shout out in there somewhere.
Yeah, Peja, yeah, shout out. But, as we got older, we just saw bigger people start to shoot the three ball. And, even when Yao Ming first came out, some of his highlights, he showed that he had the range to shoot. But in the NBA, I mean, somebody his size, he was down in the block. Because in the NBA, that's where they belong. But now you just got people shooting threes from everywhere.
Well, also, too, you also have to consider, too, that the size of the, quote-unquote big man, used to be people 7 foot, almost 300 pounds rocking the block. Now you have centers that's about 6'9" to 6'11".
Yeah.
And their jobs is to at least try to get a couple of rebounds, but their main, duty is to spread the floor. It's not even to, do what the old school big man would do. It's more about how can you spread the floor and create more chaos for the defense.
Now, do you think that's why people like Roy Hibbert are having a hard time adjusting? Because, I mean, coming out of college, I thought Roy was going to be good. And then
he was going to be good, too. He came from Georgetown.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be the man. He had lost some weight coming in. I hate the way some of these big men run, but, he had that weird running style. Him and LaMarcus Aldridge. That's the only thing I don't like about LaMarcus Aldridge is the way he runs. It's like, it's such a weird thing to watch. If you ever get a chance to check it out, it's just such the weirdest thing ever. But some of these big guys that are able to hit the jumper now, we remember Patrick Ewing, Olajuwon hitting the open jumper, but now they have a lot more range. And to me, that just shows like you said, the evolution of the game. So eventually, there are going to be no bruisers, and it's like, what's going to happen to those guys?
I mean, what bruisers do we have now, though? I mean, let's be honest. The only person I could think of on the top of my head is Steven Adams.
I would say Andre Drummond. I mean, because he doesn't really have a jump shot from what I can see. He's a post guy.
Yeah, but you're talking about bruisers though. We're talking like the Anthony Mason enforcers kind of people.
I mean, I
Or
mean, I,
could you say Andre Drummond's the same way?
I
Let's,
mean, nobody's playing that way because they would get called for a foul. They can't do anything today, so they would get called for
well,
a foul. So, I mean, is it more of a product of their environment or is it the players now? Because now they are slimmer. I think the average center probably now is like maybe 260 if we're giving them credit for that much weight. If they're even
I could
true
probably agree
centers.
with 260. I might have went down to about 255 ish, but yeah, about 260.
I don't even think Dwight is that big anymore because before he was much bigger, but now he's just. I can tell he's lost some of his depth. His strength is not there like it used to be, and like we always talk about, we're gonna get into Dwight a little later, but he just hasn't. He hasn't developed as a Houston Rocket fan would like him to.
Shout outs to the color mauve.
Yeah, right. Yesterday, oh God, oh my goodness, can't believe that. But but with Steph Curry though, because I know we were talking about the Tracy McGrady comments. He said the
Yes.
NBA is watered down, bro. That is just.
Now, is there some truth in his statement, or do you think it's just sour grapes?
It might be a mixture of both. I mean, that's such a rough thing to say because there are a lot of good talent, and I get what he's saying, but and we talked about the list yesterday, and top five, no question. You got Westbrook, you got Durant, you got LeBron, you got Kawhi Leonard,
Yes.
you got Steph Curry.
Yes,
It was just
and for the people at home listening it in, the top five for the MVP voting was Stephen Curry with 1,310 votes, Kawhi Leonard with 634 votes, LeBron James at number three at 631 votes. Number four is Russell Westbrook, 486, and rounding out the top five is Kevin Durant with 147.
And I think that LeBron, Durant, and Westbrook should have been a little closer because I thought Westbrook. I mean, I honestly thought he should have been up a little higher, but the king always has to get his at least a credit for just being who he is. But what
And
Durant?
we mentioned this, off the podcast that we had LeBron at number five.
Yeah, I had LeBron number five because of Westbrook and Durant's defensive numbers with their offensive numbers.
Absolutely.
I thought Westbrook. I mean, he really made a strong case for this here. But Kawhi Leonard.
Didn't Westbrook lead the NBA in triple doubles this year?
Absolutely. And I think that with Westbrook, he's an electrifying player and he really makes a difference. But that Steph Curry guy, hand down, man down, hand up, it don't matter.
Man down.
Hand up, it don't matter. What I mean? It's like he's going to shoot the ball. It's just a matter of if he's gonna miss or not.
I mean, literally a true testament as far as what we're saying about Stephen Curry. Look at their last game in overtime.
And I
Just
thought
watch the entire overtime.
it was over. I went to sleep. I said, "Man, I'm going to bed. I got to get up tomorrow." And just skip it. And I wake up, and the first thing I do when I wake up, look at Bleacher Report because I'm all about sports. And
Shout out to Bleacher Report.
yeah, I read a report. All it said was Damian Lillard says Stephen Curry is unbelievable. And I was like, did they lose? They were up by like 15, 16 points. Yeah, that's not a great lead, but I was like, well, they're playing pretty confidently. They're playing pretty well. I saw Sean Livingston had got ejected, so I was like, all right, they'll lose some firepower. I know some people were in foul trouble. I was like, man, this game might be done. And, the Warriors struggled. The Warriors have struggled the last 2 or 3 games.
They struggled since, they struggled the last 2-3 games. You're completely right.
So with or without Steph Curry, they were struggling. And we talked about this. The one thing that I think has to happen for the Warriors to not only win this series, but win the next series and the finals is Draymond Green has to be the man.
I completely agree. Draymond Green, who still does not get a lot of credit as far as what he does, and we talked about this, he is the person who does a lot of the dirty work. And it actually is a great segue into an analogy that we talked about yesterday. We're going to bring it up. Where the doctor has compared the Golden State Warriors to the cast of And if you all know from your Nintendo childhood, the cast members of Super Mario Brothers. So he is
Absolutely.
going to educate us to who is who.
That is too funny. Well, I mean, we talked about it yesterday, so it was just something funny because we were talking about Splash Brothers, Clay and Steph, but as you've noticed, Klay Thompson is good, but he's no Steph Curry. So my thing is, Steph Curry obviously is Mario in this scenario here, and Klay Thompson would be Luigi. Now, where it goes from there, it might be where it gets a little controversial because I went forward to say Draymond Green would be Yoshi, in which you started laughing, and I'm like, well, Yoshi was really a beast, didn't get the credit he deserved. He was jumping on people, he could fly, he could spit fireballs. I mean, Yoshi was doing it all.
Of course. And actually, I ended up agreeing with you because that's when I said, Yoshi does all the dirty work. And
Now
that's what
it,
Draymond Green does. I
now it
mean,
was the other people, I think, where I get a little confused. I think it was Princess Peach. Is that what we?
Princess Peach, you have two Toads, blue and yellow one, for the new age of the Mario Brother games. Then
Harrison
we also
Ford.
have Bowser. But the funniest one was who you said was Princess Peach.
I mean, there's only one guy I could think of that would be sufficient enough, especially during that time of the game that I was watching, and that would be Andrew Bogut.
Or as most people like to call him, Andrew Bogus, but continue.
I mean, and that's when I started to think that, hey, maybe they're gonna let him go. Then it starts to make sense. All right, we'll just say we'll let Bogut go. We'll try to bring in Durant. You have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Durant, and Ezeli. You still have Iguodala. You still have Harrison Barnes. You still have Sean Livingston. Maybe depending on how that goes, because I don't know. They might let Harrison Barnes walk, in which I hope Daryl Morey gets a hold of this tape and picks him up because that's the kind of player we need. But I mean, Princess, he's the softest guy out there.
Wow.
I mean, think about it. Think about it. Look around. Look around everywhere.
Aussie is called soft. My goodness.
Soft.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There's only one word.
Yeah, describe you, sir. And that's I'm gonna spell it out for you. SAWFT. Soft. Like for real.
Too funny.
But I mean, I guess Stephen Curry gets the knock on him that he's soft, but I mean, he's a really small guy. So,
of course.
You got these guards, they're pushing him around, and he's running up these screens, and he's moving, and then he stops, pops his three. It's like, who cares if if he don't like the contact, if he's still popping the three.
Absolutely.
Unless you're going to take the flagrant two on him, it doesn't really matter.
Which would be a common foul,
Exactly.
a while ago, but
Yeah, a decade and a half ago, it would have been, that's nothing.
Shout out to T Mac for that comment too.
Yeah, and that's why I said it was a mixture of both for T Mac, because I think with him, I mean, when you're going against somebody like Westbrook, Durant, LeBron, and Kawhi Leonard, which Kawhi Leonard showed everything and above that he's able to compete in this league. Westbrook, everything and above.
Yes.
So
Westbrook is one of those players who get angrier as the game comes along.
And you did say that yesterday and this morning. I just think that T-Mac played in a different time, and he must be saying that it's watered down because the balance of powers isn't as spread out as it used to be.
And that was the main argument that I was seeing on Facebook today. It definitely is the balance of power. If you're a superstar,
right,
you would rather beat all the other superstars and show I'm the man.
Right.
I'm the main event.
Then join them.
Than to join them.
It needs to be so much fun that way.
And it was so much more entertaining because not only is it entertaining during the regular season, but when it hit the postseason, ooh boy.
Yeah. Right.
Then we get classic rivalries like, the Pacers and the Knicks, the Heat and the Knicks.
Right.
The Kings and the Lakers,
right.
in that controversial ending to that series. I mean, we had people literally, battling each other, dare I say, trying to kill each other.
I can't believe there's no rivalry with the Celtics right now. You know what I mean? Like the Celtics, these teams are just I mean, I hate to keep throwing this word out there, but a lot of teams are softer nowadays. They're running these finesse systems that involve a lot of running, I guess, like the Mike D'Antoni system.
Yep.
That basically he would run and gun, but at least they were a little tougher when Stoudemire was healthy, and you had Steve Nash running up and down the court
With the Matrix.
Exactly with Sean Marion.
Abdel.
Mm-hmm.
Who was a solid wing defender.
Exactly. And that's what I'm talking about. See, before it was like you had your point guard who was pretty solid, could score, but was really mainly a distributor. Somebody that can manage the game.
General. Absolutely.
Right. You had your shooting guard. Your shooting guard was your guy. He's the guy that's going to score the buckets for you. Then you had your small forward, which typically, in most cases, was your defensive guy.
Yes.
Then you had your power forward, who usually could score, but you really wanted him to really crash boards.
And I would say that the 4 was more of the 3 and the 4 was sort of like your second, third scorer / enforcer kind of thing. Like, it depends on how that is.
It depends on the team.
Exactly.
Because, I always think about the old school Knicks because that's all my uncle used to watch, and my dad's a Knicks fan, so that's all.
A Knicks fan too.
You're also a Knicks fan, yeah. So that's all I used to watch growing up. So I would see, again, Allen Houston, John Starks, you had Anthony Mason, and then whatever combination, whether it be Patrick Ewing or whoever else.
Patrick Ewing.
You had Charles Oakley.
Charles Oakley. We had Larry Johnson too.
The Oak Tree. So, to me, like, that was the type of team, obviously outside of the Bulls of that era, that was the kind of team you built around. It was just the Knicks could never get over that hump. And every year I would have to watch that with my uncle. I'd be like, all right, turn back to the Yankees. You know what I mean? But teams these days, I just don't know how they're building. And, that's where I think GMs have to really focus on going back and saying, hey, we need to build a tougher team.
I agree. I actually do agree with that.
Yeah, tougher team.
It's not like that anymore, though.
It's not.
It's about how fast can we score the ball? How fast can we run up and down the floor?
But who cares about running up and down I think that's the part that's crazy because if you run up and down the court fast, it's like your efficiency.
Yes.
Is going to take a hit because you're pushing the ball up the floor. You're increasing the probability of a turnover, and you're not really running any sets. So everybody's just kind of running and doing their own thing. You're setting screens, and now they are calling more illegal screens.
Some
teams are getting called for illegal screens. I would say, just throw a discretionary phrase out there. Some teams are getting called.
Throwing out bombs.
Hey, I'm just saying. But at the end of the day, I understand what T-Mac was saying. It's different when, hey, you have stars. They come out. They go to a team. They play there for 3-4 years. Their contract is up. They say, you know what? I met LeBron over the summer. I think I'm going to go play with LeBron. I might take $5 million less the first year, and then the owner's going to pay the luxury tax the second year, third year, fourth year to keep us together.
Yep.
So, to me, if you don't have any stars that want to come play with you, that says more about you. And that's a problem that I have with both Dwight and James Harden as a Rockets fan. Because nobody's saying, hey, I'm thinking about going to Houston.
No.
You know what I mean? And it goes back.
It's not a big market city, though, and that's the other problem.
But neither is San Antonio. You saw they scored LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah, well, also LaMarcus Aldridge still want to play the 5.
But see,
you have to put that in consideration too.
He wouldn't have had to play the 5. He came to Houston. He would have played the 4. It would have been clear, and it would have made more sense because they would have spread the floor. We needed that stretch 4. He could have been that stretch 4. He could have. I know he would have.
Among your other 15,000 forwards that you had on the team at the time too.
We didn't need those other forwards. We needed at the time. I don't know why we have 9 forwards on the team. It never
Sam
makes
Decker,
sense.
that's all I gotta say, sir.
Oh my god, that was so unbelievable.
And
then we drafted
salty whenever I say that name too, because I was like, I told you they was gonna draft him. I told you that was gonna happen.
Oh god, it was so stupid because it's like then we went forward and drafted another forward in the next round. I'm like, what the heck? Why do we have all these forwards and we needed a point guard?
That's how the league is now. You get these forwards, these threes, and you have them play the 3, the 4, and the 5.
He's not playing no 5. He might be able to play the 4, He might be able to play the 4. Like,
Who, Sam
might.
Darnold?
Yeah, he
Oh
might.
no, he's a pure 3. No,
Yeah, that's what I'm
no, he
saying.
might play some 2. I don't think he can play some 4.
I don't even know if he. I don't know. He already had surgery on his back, so to me, it's like that's already damaged goods. So hopefully he comes back healthy. But don't let me get started on the Houston Rockets because I could talk about them all
Actually,
day.
let's keep going on the Houston Rockets because there's sources out there saying that the Houston Rockets might be getting Kenny the Jet Smith as their new head coach.
Stop it.
I mean, it's either him, it's either that guy, it is either that guy or
the other guy.
that other guy. And his name is, it's not John Cena. It's not John Cena.
It's not John Cena! No, but
His name is
Patrick?
What's up, Ryan? Oops.
I know where you go with this. I was just waiting for you to see. Because, I mean, there's several people it could be. It could be David Blatt. I mean, I'm hoping that they at least give Patrick Ewing a shot at an interview. I saw your face change there when I said Patrick Ewing. But,
well,
I mean...
We talked about the whole Patrick Ewing coaching situation. Where
he was in Houston. He's been there. He's coached
been
there.
in Houston. He's been around Dwight Howard for a long time.
I'm on Twitter, TL Double. And whenever I see somebody from the Bleacher Report post something, I always go and tweet them so I can get my name to pop up on the Bleacher Report. That's just something for myself. I always like to see my name on the Bleacher Report. And Calvin Watkins, who is one of the main reporters who actually reports for the Rockets, said that he hopes that we get Jeff Van Gundy. Now the problem that I have with Jeff Van Gundy. You said what?
But you already had him.
Now here is the exact point that I made. I said, well, we had Jeff Van Gundy around the same time. I think he might have got there, and then a year or two later, Daryl Morey was hired as the general manager, and then a year or two later, Jeff Van Gundy was fired. So I said in that quote, I would have rather had Tibbs because I knew he would have came in and coached. I would still take Frank Vogel because I know he'll come in and coach. I would have loved.
Isn't he now being hired as the Kings coach?
No, Jaeger.
Oh, it was Jaeger. Sorry.
Jaeger, whatever.
I'm sorry, people.
Yeah, he's going to the Kings. So I mean, I'm really hoping that we bring in somebody that's going to coach defense. But I can't say that David Blatt won't be a good hire because we really don't know what kind of coach he is. Because
absolutely, I still think that he had a really rough deal.
Yeah, he had that LeBron factor, but I don't know if LeBron is worse than James Harden. I don't know because I mean, James Harden seems like the type of person that will say, "I want you to go out and get me a rainbow pack of freaking Twizzlers, but I want you to take all the yellow ones out." You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of person he seems like to me. I don't know him, but
that is hilarious.
That's the kind of person.
That was oddly specific, sir.
Yeah. Hey, go get me M&Ms, but I only like blue ones. You know
Are you trying to tell the audience something? Or are you trying to tell us that you have a certain thing for certain candies like that?
No, I don't like Twizzlers. I hate Twizzlers, actually. I want to put that on the record. I hate Twizzlers. All colors, a knockoff brand, name brand. I do not like Twizzlers.
Shout out to 99-cent stores.
I skip right past the Twizzlers. Anything like Twizzler, I skip. But as far as coaching goes for the Rockets, I mean, the Jet, I can't see them hiring Kenny Smith. They hired Kenny Smith, I might take a year or two off from basketball. I ain't gonna lie to you, because I already know, like, that's a mockery to coaches, like, to skip an individual who has the experience of a Patrick Ewing, of a David Blatt, of even if they hired Sam Cassell, I would be okay. Because he got an interview. He did get an interview. So, I mean, to me, like, don't hire Kenny Smith. And this is the point I made to Calvin Watkins. Don't hire him just because he's friends with the owner. I don't want to hear that.
Or just because he helped, win 2 titles for the city.
And that's just dumb. Never coached before, so he can give all kinds of color commentary, but there's a lot. It's different when you're drawing plays in a studio and drawing plays on the sideline.
Absolutely, it's a whole different beat.
It's a whole different ballgame.
I mean, it goes to that whole argument about first-time coaches not paying their dues as an assistant coach.
And that is, I mean, I would be
You know,
so
I mean,
mad.
I remember when Jason Kidd, he literally just got finished retiring and got hired as a coach.
Derek Fisher.
Derek Fisher.
You want to talk?
Like, you know what? Let's not talk about Derek.
Oh my God, we're not gonna talk about Derek Fisher because that just didn't make any sense.
It was no sense whatsoever. I was disgusted.
But this is what I'll say about Stan Van Gundy, though. The one thing I'll say is that
Stan or Jeff?
I'm sorry, Jeff.
Okay.
Jeff Van Gundy.
Oh, wait, Stan's in Detroit.
I'm sorry, I meant Jeff. The one thing I did tell Calvin was that why would Jeff Van Gundy come back to the Houston Rockets unless Daryl Morey was going to relinquish some of his power?
Which I don't think it's going to happen.
And that's what I said. And that's why I told you I thought it was going to be, they were going to have to bring in somebody that they can control. You know, somebody that can get control. So they might bring in a Kenny to Jet Smith only because he'll do whatever they say, which is not what I want as a coach. I want somebody that takes the power away from the GM because clearly, yes, clearly, he does not know how to build a winning franchise.
Not yet. Nope. He knows how to play for a winning franchise. But to build it from the bottom, from the sidelines, to call the plays, to manage the personnel, to do all that stuff, he has not done it yet at this level.
Well,
He's done it at other levels.
Yeah. See, and here's the thing.
But he hasn't done it here yet, and it's a totally different ballgame. It's a totally different beast. So I definitely agree. I mean, you have to take some caution with it, but there's also times where it works. I mean, we got the Golden State Warriors.
But can I say this, though?
Sure.
Daryl Morey has been the general manager of the Houston Rockets since 2007. I have not seen anything within the last couple of years that would even remotely suggest that he should still have his job.
That's actually hilarious.
Like, first and foremost, and I always make this argument because if it was my team, and people might be like, oh, you're crazy, you know, oh, Dr. Plez. You know, but we had a pretty nice little squad, and I think if we made maybe one or two different moves, we would have been in a much better position cap-wise. We would have been in a better position player-wise. So you think back, before we acquired Dwight Howard, we had Omer Asik. We still had Demo playing pretty well.
Demo was playing well. So then my question to you is then, speaking of, potential and what could have been, your boy, Chandler Parsons.
Chandler Parsons was another one. Now you think about it, had we not did all this other stuff, probably this would have. Who declines a third-year option? Who does that? Who declines a player option, a team option, and lets the guy walk away? Well,
I was
for Carmelo.
The answer is
Daryl Morey. Yeah, Daryl Morey, because he was trying to go for Carmelo, and Chris Bosh bombed on everyone, and wound up settling. Don't get me wrong. I like Trevor Ariza.
As a GM, you need to get your best available players first. If you have someone on your team already, and he's a free agent,
we were good, and that's all I can think of.
You know that he's good and he works well with your team. Pick him up.
Only thing I can think of.
With everything else.
Only thing I can think of is that he knew that Chandler Parsons' injury was a lot more severe than they were leading on. Then I get it. I'm not paying him. I wouldn't want to pay him $25 million either for 3 years. I get it. But
that was a shot to Derrick Rose, by the way.
Hey. But seriously though, it was. I'm not. Like I said, in the game, I picked him up and I was like, you don't want to come off the bench? Oh, I'm trading you. You know what I mean? But with Chandler Parsons, he was a role player. Definitely not paying him $25 million or 20, whatever it was. And then we still had about 5 or 6 forwards at that time, so we only added more.
I'm not going there.
But just think back, though.
I'm about to check to see how many forwards you actually have in your roster right now.
Please. Brewer, you got Terrence Jones, you got Demo, you got Trevor Ariza, now you got Michael Beasley. It's a lot of them, bro. For real. You got Montrezl Harrell, you got Sam Eckler.
Keep Michael Beasley, by the way.
Yes, they better keep Michael Beasley. But
after I told you, Michael Beasley can score. It was just off the court issues that prevented him from doing whatever he do. He could be a 30-point scorer a night.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens.
Despite the fact that JB didn't play him, no more than 5 to 10 minutes a game during the series.
I don't know what's up with JB. He's already, withdrew from the coaching, but I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I just know that whoever we bring in, they better be ready to coach because we don't know what's going to happen with Dwight. You've already made it clear that you didn't want Demo because we tried to trade him to the Pistons. We don't know.
I thought his injuries prevented him from the trade fully happening.
Yeah, but I mean, he was already packing his bags and leaving. So I mean, just think about it. If it was me, like, hey, Khalif, you're fired. Oh, you know what? Maybe not. Let's rethink that. Maybe you're not fired. You see, exactly that feeling that you have right there. That's kind of how I feel he felt. I know he knows it's a business, but it's like, hey, you're fired. I think you're fired. No, you're not fired. Come back to work tomorrow. I'll get you lunch. You know what I mean? Like,
that's not. I won't like that.
So it's like he's probably not going to re-sign with us. You got Terrence Jones probably not going to re-sign with us. We should get rid of Ariza. We should get rid of Brewer. I mean, they might as well just. That's why I think Daryl Morey should just hand over the team.
Oh yeah, FYI, you have 7 forwards on your team,
and that's crazy.
You have 7.
That's crazy, my friend. That's crazy. So, I mean, we can definitely move on from the Houston Rockets whenever you want to. I mean, I'm just saying because I know we could talk about. I know we got to talk about Dwight and his interview.
Well,
yes.
Real quickly, this just came up on my phone. The league has just said that they made 2 wrong calls on the final minute for Game 5 between the Spurs and the Thunder, which I totally agree.
Probably the foul. Was it the foul?
Yeah, it was 2 fouls.
Non-foul or?
It was an offensive foul, and then it was an intentional foul that led to a Westbrook and 1.
Yeah, I did see that. And I'm looking on my Bleacher Report here, and it shows that the Rockets have interviewed Jeff Hornacek and Kenny Smith today for their positions, which I don't want neither one of those guys, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Didn't Jeff Hornacek help the Suns? No. Was
No.
it Jeff Hornacek?
Jeff Hornacek, him and Marquise Morris or Marcus Morris got it.
Yes. Well, just say Morris. Just say Morris.
Yeah, one of the Morris twins, by the way, one of them is also actually I think Marcus is a former Houston Rocket.
Yes.
We just let
drafted there.
Yeah, we just let everybody go, bro. We had Kyle Lowry, we had Dragic. I mean, we had all these guys. We just let them off the hook.
Both of which are, battling. I believe they should be playing tonight, actually.
How
battling to join LeBron and the Cavaliers, who, and you know what? Real quickly, because I know we're starting to push on time a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Real quickly, is the Eastern Conference really this week? Is it really this week where the Cavaliers just did 2 sweeps and are now sitting with a week off? Is it really this week?
I think the problem with the Eastern Conference, and I'm just looking at it now, is the teams that used to be good aren't good, and then the teams that have been bad are worse. So, I mean, just looking at the top, let's say 4.
So it's a lose-lose situation.
It really is. I mean, the Cavs won 57 games. The Raptors won 56 games. The Heat won 48. The Hawks won 48. The Celtics won 48. And then the Hornets won 48. And we talked about the Hornets being a team that's on the come up. But the teams that used to be good that aren't anymore, Pacers, Pistons, Bulls. Now, in the Pacers, Pistons, and Bulls last couple years, they've always been, battling for that 6, 7, 8. And now you got.
When the last time they was in the playoffs? This past.
Well, maybe I'm thinking more of the Bulls. I see the Bulls and the Pistons are.
Yeah.
Because the Bulls weren't in the playoffs, and that's new.
That is new. That hasn't happened.
You know what I mean? So that's where it is. The Pistons took over from the Bulls, but also the Wizards are usually in the playoffs too.
The Wizards are usually, and the Wizards used to be, in that 4-5 position, always battling Atlanta.
Exactly. So I mean, to me. That's what happened to the East. So, did the East get worse? No, they have pretty much the same players. That might be a gift and a curse that they have the same players. But, I mean, I don't know. The Bulls can't say, hey, it's because Derrick Rose has been injured anymore. You can't even use that excuse anymore. The Pistons, they're rebuilding. They're trying to figure their lives out. And the Pacers,
I don't know what's up with the
I
Pacers.
don't know what's going on with the Pacers. I mean, you saw that trade offer that that the Lakers made. I don't know. I don't know if that's smart or dumb. I don't know. Paul George is a monster. If anybody had,
He is a monster.
there was a trade offer. I think it was a second or third round pick. No, second or well, basically the Lakers' first round pick for Paul George.
What, straight up like that?
I believe it was.
No.
Yeah, I believe it
No.
was.
And I don't like using this word harmonies. That'd be stupid. That's stupid.
Lakers, Pacers trade. Let's see. Oh, let's see. I remember reading it now. Like I said, every morning I get up and that's the first thing I do. So yeah.
As we're getting our information, everyone, just want you to know that Debate Among Friends is officially sponsored by Not Your Father's Ginger Ale. Make sure you enjoy it at your local grocery store. It's quite tasty, actually.
Very,
Me
very
and the doctor drink it all the time, and it's quite refreshing. So once again, Not Your Father's Ginger Ale,
Also,
a small town brewery company.
also, if you're into root beer, not like myself, I hate root beer, but they also make Not Your Father's root beer. So please go check that out in your local grocery or I guess liquor store. I guess depending on where you are. In North Carolina, there beer is everywhere. So, but yeah, the Lakers are reportedly hoping to trade a high draft pick in exchange for proven talent, Paul George.
That's
So
interesting.
I would assume they probably would wait until after the lottery to see exactly where it is, and then they might say, well, it's a it might be a 3 or a 4. I mean, obviously, if it falls lower than that, they might have to add someone, but that's what they're looking to do. But I don't know where that would put the Patriots
Insane, though.
because it's so
I mean, that's almost as crazy as Chicago is trying to trade off Jimmy Butler.
that when I saw that or heard that had me blown away. And if I was Jimmy Butler, I wouldn't even want to be there anymore. I would want to be in Houston. I would love Jimmy Butler to come to Houston. By the way, that would be.
That is too funny. I knew you were going to say that, too.
Of course. Come on, you don't want him. You might not want him in New York because it would be too many people there unless they got rid of Carmelo.
Which I'm okay with as well, too.
Yeah, I figured that.
Before people sit there and tell me blasphemous, I've also told this to the doctor that I'm okay if they trade off Carmelo. Because as good as he was this year, I'm alright because we do have a good core of young talent there. Hopefully they don't trade them off like they did the other people.
Listen, I'm going to be even more controversial. I don't even care. I would have never signed Carmelo back, period. So, I mean, I would have let him walk, to be completely honest with you. I would have let him walk. You drafted Porzingis. They brought in Robin Lopez. They could have probably brought in another second or third tier free agent, and they probably would have been just fine without Carmelo. Might have even made a bigger push because he didn't really play that much anyway.
He
So,
didn't play that much either. I'm gonna be even more controversial.
uh-oh.
I'm gonna say that if LeBron James is interested in the Knicks, please walk away, LeBron. We don't want you.
Oh, we don't want you, LeBron. anyone but you, LeBron.
Anyone but you, LeBron. Anyone but you.
Shout out to Bray Wyatt.
And it's not to knock him because he is one of the best players on the planet. I'm not knocking that. But I think we could win without him. And I feel highly confident in that.
I don't want LeBron. I wouldn't want LeBron in Houston either. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think we have a habit of swapping stars too late in their prime. Like, we had Steve Francis. It started with Steve Francis. This all started with Steve Francis. We had him, Tino Mobley, and we had Yao Ming. Then they said, "Oh well, Steve Francis, you're not working anymore. We're going to trade you to Orlando for Tracy McGrady." Yep. We traded Tracy, traded for Tracy McGrady. Him and Yao did the thing. He did the whole 15 points in 1 second.
Your favorite moments as a Rocket in recent history.
It was outstanding. And then it was like, all right, well, we don't want T-Mac anymore. Let him walk. Then we went through this period of, I don't know who was playing on the team at that time. It was like, hey, let's just bring these guys in. We tried to build through the draft, and then it was like, let's go get Jeremy Lin, that young kid with no left from New York. Let's go get Jeremy Lin.
I was like, is he going there?
And I was like, what the heck? He don't got no left. Everybody knows it. I know it. You know it. You know it too. And then I was like, wait a minute. Then we went out and got Omer Ashik, and I was like, well, I like Omer Ashik. He's a defender.
He is a defender. He can give you up to 15 rebounds a game.
And then
And
we
he's a
had
rim
we had
protector.
Terrence Jones, Thomas Robinson. We made some draft picks, and then you know
It's so funny how we're talking about your Rockets and you said that you wanted to stop, so that's actually kind of funny. I think the doctor has lost connection on Skype. Shout out to Skype for great connections tonight. Hold on, we're gonna see if we can get him back in. All right, he's coming back in. Once again, Debates Among Friends is brought to you by Not Your Father's Ginger Ale. So let's wait for him to come back. Some live update. We have the Heat and the Raptors playing tonight. This is Game 5. And the Raptors has come out with a 9-0 lead. I think that Miami should close this one out tonight. Well, not tonight, but at least get the series lead tonight. I mean, Dwayne Wade has been playing out of his mind. I mean, let's just, call it brass facts. Everyone thought that he was done around the time of the Heat, during their quote-unquote glory days with LeBron James. But, I mean, he is just coming out there and just playing just on a different level, just different stratosphere. And also, he's shooting three-point shots, which, not only surprised me, but it surprised everyone else. I mean, let's just, wow. And we have the doctor coming back in. Doctor, welcome back to the show. Everyone next to you.
I don't know what just happened.
The people want to know how you feel about Dwayne Wade becoming a three-point shooter. I mentioned that the Raptors are now up. They actually made a pretty good opening run in the beginning of this game. It's now 11-2.
I always get mad when I see Dwayne Wade shoot a three in a video game because I know for sure in actual time he usually doesn't. He's more of a mid-range guy, in my opinion, based on everything that I've seen. So I don't know. When I see him shoot a three, I kind of cringe a little bit. So
you cringe. I just go, why? It's like back in high school, and you're playing, and like that the guy who shouldn't be shooting threes is shooting a three. So instead of you making a reaction, you turn to your coach and you're watching him just like give him just the most
flip out, yeah. Absolutely, and that's the way I feel about it. I don't know about him shooting no threes, but then again, you got Luol Deng. You want him or Luol Deng to shoot in the three?
I'm not going there because Luol Deng maybe eat my words for that one game. He just went ballistic. So
I'm just saying, which one you want? I mean, Luol Deng. I think Dwayne Wade is probably a better shooter than Deng.
Yes, I think he's the better all-around shooter than Deng.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I think.
But is he a better shooter than Joe Johnson?
Luol Deng or Dwayne Wade?
Dwayne Wade.
I think he's a better overall scorer than Joe. I think Joe forces a lot. I think he had so much pressure in Atlanta, in New York, Brooklyn.
I say don't say New York. You gotta say Brooklyn.
Yeah, I gotta say Brooklyn. I know.
You gotta be respectful to the people.
I'm sorry.
There's a lot of Knicks fans listening to us now.
I'm sorry, people. I thought Joe Johnson should have went to the Knicks. That would have good fit, but I know he wanted to go to a playoff team. That would be.
But the Knicks was on par to make the playoffs today.
This year. So, I think if he went to the Knicks, that would have been interesting because I know how much you don't like Aflalo.
Yeah, they should have traded him, and they should have traded Jose Calderon. Aaron Aflalo. Let me just go on a little tangent about Aaron Aflalo.
You stay on time.
I was done with him after one game where Carmelo was out with injury, and they're playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. Yes, those same Thunder that is now up 3 games against the Spurs. And most of the game, if not the whole game, this cat is doing nothing but post up 2 dribble fadeaway jump shots from the sideline. The entire flipping game, he has been doing that. And I'm just like, you know what? We need to get rid of him. No. 10 seconds left on the clock. And instead of him running a good set to try to get an open shot for the win, he decides to do a post-up fadeaway jump shot.
Kobe.
No, that was not Kobe, and how dare you say that? How dare you?
I mean,
no. Okay, I'm done with my tangents.
He probably said, "Hey, what would Kobe do?"
What would Kobe do?
And he shot a fadeaway. That's what Kobe would do.
Actually, yeah. Well, actually, Kobe would probably dunk on him, but that's just
Uh,
me.
so I mean, other than that, I mean, I think that Dwayne Wade, despite his age, still a pretty solid scorer, though. Solid scorer, absolutely solid.
So then let's go back to my main question now.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Eastern Conference weak? Are the teams there weak? Or is the Cavaliers just that darn good?
I think the East displays more of that watered down NBA that T Mac was talking about because, again, the guys who are supposed to be the guys are not making it happen. You know, the Derrick Roses aren't working out. You know, Paul George is by himself in Indiana. John Wall and Bradley Beal and all those other guys, they're not working out. You know, it's just not happening. So you have, and you see what's happening with Kyle Lowry. I mean, it's just not working.
One of the worst, shooting performances in playoff history, they said.
Right, exactly. It's just not working. So to me, it's just watered down because you have LeBron, you have Kyrie Irving, and then you got Kevin Love.
Yeah, and you heard me say this before too. You know, if you're playing the Cavaliers and you're having a really good game, but if it hits about 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and if they're down by at least 10 points, I'd probably be nice enough by saying 15 points, they will win the game.
And how much time? And how much time did you say?
5 minutes left in the game.
I mean, in 1 minute, LeBron's going to score 6 points.
Not 15 points, no.
LeBron will score 15 points in 1 minute because he'll get fouled. They'll somehow, the other team, because they'll start putting pressure on, they'll get a turnover, a ridiculous turnover. So it's like, how did he even make that turnover? Then all of a sudden, LeBron will get the ball, he'll walk.
That was my gripe about when he was playing with Miami because that's all I would see. All of a sudden, they're getting steals, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's a foul.
Yeah, LeBron walk.
What are you talking about? That's a foul.
He'll walk.
Hey, don't be talking about no crab dribbling now.
Yeah, LeBron will walk his way to the rim, get the foul, somehow get the and one.
Somehow get the and one.
This, freaking 6 points for you. Then all of a sudden, LeBron, uncharacteristically, will shoot a three and
make it.
And get fouled somehow with nobody around him.
Okay, hold on. It's not Jamal Crawford.
I'm just saying, that's just how it works with LeBron. I mean, it's ridiculous for the most part, but that's just how it goes down.
That's hilarious.
So, I mean, the East is just not as good as the West. Because, the top 4 teams in the West is just like, oh, man. Oh, man.
And even the last 4, it's like, if you was to take the last 4 in the West and put them in the East, it'll make it interesting again. I
think if the Rockets were in the East, they probably would be the 3rd or 4th seed.
Wow. Okay, that's controversial, sir. I think that just created some cash.
I'm just saying.
I mean, and here's the problem that I had, and you heard me say this many, many times. I didn't care about any of the series in the East.
Yeah.
I didn't. Like, Toronto and Miami made me care about it.
True.
Other than that, not really, just going to see how many games it takes for Cleveland to get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, you remember I had told you.
It was all about, before what happened last night, who in the West between Golden State and San Antonio is going to be facing off against the Cavaliers in the finals.
Remember I had told you I forgot all about the Cavaliers even playing Detroit.
Because it was that quick.
Yeah, like.
What happens when you get a sweep?
I forgot completely about it because I was sitting there. I was like, the Eastern Conference Finals. When did they get? So when did they get past the first
round? They played in the second round.
Well, right now they're playing in the second round. Right? Oh no, they just finished in the second round. They beat the Hawks. I mean, obviously I remember that because it just happened. But yeah. I forgot all about the Pistons. Like for real. Like I forgot they were. I remember the whole thing about Stanley Johnson and I was just like, oh man. But man, it's watered down.
It is. Well, we have ourselves about 5 minutes left in the show, sir. Anything else you want to talk about?
I mean, I think for me, it's just, this playoffs is crazy. I hate to say it, and this is something that we were supposed to touch on, so we'll touch on this briefly. Yeah,
playoffs? You kidding me?
Hey,
I'm talking about no playoffs.
Everybody's just trying to win another game.
I just want to win another game.
Everybody wants to win another game. But speaking of winning another game, the Spurs. I mean,
The Spurs have surprised the basketball world. They
is
are
this
down 3-2.
is this the? It could just be the end of the big three. You know, and we're not even
because of their age versus OKC's youth, or because OKC is just that darn talented, and now they're doing a lot more other than depending on Westbrook and Durant, which we talked about, and that was something that I mentioned. The losses that OKC had, it was Westbrook and Durant, trying to save the day.
Mm-hmm.
In their last two wins, everyone else was involved.
True.
Everyone else was involved. Serge Ibaka was involved. Dion Waiters
Yeah.
was involved. And
Yeah.
Steven Adams and Ernest Cantor all was involved. Everyone shooting, everyone getting to the line, everyone doing everything that they need to do. It was like OKC was San Antonio.
Right.
In that regard, with how much they was distributing the ball.
So the question remains, with the last couple minutes, I mean, are we seeing the last of the big three in San Antonio? We're not talking about Kawhi Leonard, LaMarcus Aldridge, and anyone. We're talking about, Tony.
Duncan,
Parker and Ginobili. Is it over?
And it might actually be, even in the post game, TNT, and shout out to the TNT crew because they're doing a heck of a job and they should keep on going.
Yeah, everybody should keep going.
They said that they should sit Tim Duncan the next game and start David West.
Yeah.
That's controversial within itself, but we're talking about a future Hall of Famer, one of the best power forwards to ever play the game.
Which he did say yesterday.
They're talking about benching him for David West.
And like I said, I would love to see David West versus Maurice Spates go hand to hand, but I mean,
we can't even talk about that because they're one game away from going home. They're going fishing.
They are going fishing. I know we run out of time, but I mean, if anybody would sit down, it would be Tim Duncan. If anybody would sit out, it would be Tim Duncan. If he wasn't contributing, he's selfless enough, and that's the good thing about the Spurs that we love is that they're selfless and they're more about winning than they are their own, egos. So, I'm with it.
Which I'm okay with too, and that's how they got people like LaMarcus Aldridge and
David West. Yeah, David West.
David West took a huge salary drop.
He's sitting on the bench.
To sit on the bench.
Yeah, I would be mad if Boris Diaw was coming in over me and I was just a starter. You know what I mean? But then again, here we are. That's the reason why the East is watered down because everybody's going to sit on somebody's bench. A la the Kevin Martins of the world. Because Kevin Martin...
Wow, he went down.
Kevin Martin can still start on a team somewhere.
But you didn't like Kevin Martin. You said he has the most broke jump shot in the world.
I didn't say I wanted him. I just said he could start somewhere. I don't want him. You want him? I know you would rather take him than freaking a Flalo.
I would take anyone over a Flalo.
Anyone but you over a Flalo.
That's loaded. That's a loaded question. I think, too. So
anyone but you.
I'm pretty sure there's probably about 5 other people who I don't want.
Yes.
And would rather have Aaron Flalo, but I'm just saying that I wouldn't want Aaron Flalo.
I can see the Knicks getting Derrick Rose next year.
I don't want him.
Hey.
They were saying that Chris Paul wants to go to New York. I think that'd be great because what we need is a great floor general, and I think he'll be awesome.
Who are you giving up for Chris Paul? Though is the question.
I give up pretty much the whole team except for our young guys and Porzingis.
When have the Knicks ever kept their young guys? I'm just saying, bro. When have the Knicks ever kept their young guys?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in tonight.
Just saying.
I'm gonna go into my corner and cry a little bit now.
I'm just saying.
Oh man, Dr. Play.
Dr. Plays. Oh goodness, debate among friends.
Well, folks, we're about to close out for tonight. It's great having everyone else to meet us today. We're actually about to head out and play some Two Guns. If you don't know it, it's a great shooting game. 4-player mode. You can play versus. You play online. It's awesome. It's for the Xbox 360, the Xbox One as well too, with backwards compatibility. Once again, I am the professor.
And I'm the doctor.
And thank you very much. Have such a great night.
Peace out.